How's it going, Film and TV fans? Welcome back to another review on the Off the Cuff Film Reviews YouTube channel. Today we are looking at another 2022 movie, the 2022 film Dog, starring and directed by Channing Tatum, written by Reed Colohan, also directed by Reed Colohan as well. This movie came out in February 2022, so a very early 2022 movie. As far as I'm aware, it was never intended to come out last year. It always was meant to come out this year. And in all honesty, I'm watching this movie because it recently became available on Amazon Prime Video in the United Kingdom. However, I did see this film in cinemas when it first came out. And in all honesty, while it is nothing revolutionary, I think it's just... When someone asked me what, think of a movie that's just, not breaking any boundaries, but it's really enjoyable and really fun, I would say this is one of those movies, because it's nothing special, like, it's nothing new, it doesn't bring anything particularly new to the table, but what it does do is use what it already had, what it's decided to already use, and kind of just make it the best of that kind of thing. And I think it's obviously, it's a buddy comedy, it's a road trip kind of movie, but it's also that kind of human animal bond kind of movie. And also obviously as the movie goes on towards the end, at the beginning he doesn't hate the dog, but he doesn't particularly get along with it and doesn't intend to keep it that long after what he's supposed to do with it. But by the end of the movie he decides to keep the dog, and I think the ending is my favourite part of this movie because it's really cool. But it isn't specifically designed to be a heartwarming movie, and that's what I like about it, because it has elements of this serious movie about, an army vet who's lost his dog and his dog has been taken to his funeral, but it also has some comedic moments to it, and it also has, trademark Channing Tatum moments. There's also, comedy to it, which I really like. It deals with heavy topics, but also keeps those heavy topics light-hearted in some moments as well, by using comedy to its advantage. And it's for that reason I generally think Dog is one of the most entertaining movies of this year. I think I'd recommend everyone give it a watch, because while it is not an Oscar-worthy movie, it's not one of the best movies ever made. I, for one, think it's one of the more enjoyable movies I've seen this year. It's just a man and his dog. It's a bit more complicated than that, but the easiest way to say it is it's just a man and his dog. Now, it doesn't help, well, it does help actually, that this movie is actually based on Channing Tatum, on a real-life event that occurs to Channing Tatum, where he was driving his dog across the country at the very end of its life in 2018. The dog was also called Lulu, as such as the dog in this movie. And it kind of was based off of that, so it's nice to see that it has some real world influence in it, which I can really, really appreciate, because it actually, you can feel that it's not your casual, typical Channing Tatum movie. And a good way to compare that is to compare it with another one of his movies that came out this year, and that is The Lost City, which I think is just a generic, boring, normal-esque comedy that's just not my kind of thing. I didn't like it, but it's very much a Channing Tatum movie. You can tell he was, it has his style of comedy, his style of acting per se. Whereas here, this is something that's very much personal to him. Not only is it because he is actually director of the movie in his directorial debut, but also because it's obviously heavily inspired by his own real-life events. And again, I'm a sucker for that kind of movie that are inspired by real-life events, while it isn't actually based off of a real-life story, which is what I tend to gravitate to more. Is obviously you can tell it's heavily inspired by something that's happened to the man, which, I can appreciate for that exact reason. Like I keep saying, it's not setting the world on fire. It's not the greatest movie ever made. But it's also just completely harmless, really. It's great. It is just so entertaining. I think it's nicely shot as well. It's very nicely shot for the most part, and it feels so well developed from Channing Tatum's part. He's obviously, not only has he based off his experience, he's also done some research, and there are some very saddening scenes. Like there's a scene towards the end where our main character has a stroke and the dog is there to help him, and that's a very serious scene, and it works well because it's all been set up with the information given to us, and it's not ruined by a joke 10 seconds later. It's a proper serious scene, and while there are jokes in scenes afterwards and before, it's one of those movies that really manages to balance comedy and seriousness well, and I will admit those kind of movies are rare these days, and this one is one of those ones that manages to pull it off so well and so brilliantly that it's one I'll definitely be going back to quite a lot, I think, because I do really think it's one of the better movies from this year, just because from a just enjoyability standpoint, from an entertaining standpoint. While it does, have it works on so many levels, because not only is it obviously a personal movie, like I said, for Tatum, but his performance seems to be much more sophisticated than other movies, and I think that, like I said, it just is so well balanced. It's balancing is something a lot of movies can struggle with for the most part, and this movie manages to balance its heavy topics of military vet, slowly, deteriorating health-wise, and brain injuries and stuff like that, and strokes, those kind of heavy topics, death, and so on and so forth, with humour in the right places and at the right times. It's not having, the character have a stroke and then have him making the joke 10 seconds later. It's not that at all. It is serious, heartfelt moments being those, and then having the comedy when it's needed. And I think it does help that Channing Tatum actually does somehow have really great chemistry with the dog, which I didn't expect, but he actually does. And in all honesty, that came off as quite remarkable, actually, because as an actor, to be able to have chemistry with most of the other actors it's not exactly the hardest thing in the world, but to be able to have said chemistry with an animal as well makes it so, dog has the right amount of comedy and cuteness that somehow makes Channing Tatum have great chemistry with the dog. Like I said, I certainly would recommend the movie, and it's one of those movies where you should go out and support such a smaller movie that may have flown under a lot of people's radars, and you'll have a good time doing it too. It's genuinely just, it's nothing special, it's nothing groundbreaking, and it has a lot of common tropes and stuff, but it's one of those movies that manages to use those tropes in such a, maybe not clever, but just enjoyable and fun way that it makes you really enjoy the movie. And it's just one that I would just recommend everyone go watch, because it is so much fun to watch a movie like this. And it's not just because it's all fun and games, because there's a lot of distance between movies that are fun and entertaining that you really enjoy, like action movies and stuff like that, and then the serious real life dramas kind of things. And there isn't movies that really manage to collide those two things together and also add comedy, and I think this movie does that so well. And it's a great example of a mishmatch of genres coming together to making something really quite enjoyable. And I won't lie, like I said, it's just so amazing that it manages to mix so many genres together and have so much brilliance about it. Thomas Newman's score, again, while remaining unreleased, is good stuff, and it's really good to see Channing Tatum have that bond with the dog, and it's clear he put a lot of personal growth into this movie, and it's obviously something he's had a tremendous time making, and I think it really shows on screen how much he cared about this movie opposed to some movies. And I think that I can appreciate him being able to actually make it work, and make it work brilliantly as well, because it's such a movie for me where there are some scenes that I get slightly, I feel like the scene where he pretends to be a blind person to get a hotel room. It's a little bit off-putting for me personally, but it works. It just works. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my review of the movie Dog. I highly recommend you go and get. I recommend you find a way to watch the movie. Like I said, it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video in the United Kingdom. I believe it's also coming to Amazon Prime Video in the States as well. I can't comment on any other countries, but as far as I'm aware, it should be streaming there soon. And yeah, once again, thanks so much for watching this review. Go check out the other reviews. We've got new music coming soon. Again, on the 1st September, on my birthday, we have Almond House Hotel dropping, a great song and a little birthday present from me to you. So go check that out. again, Legoland Deluxe is also dropping soon, as well as the Adventure Inside EP on the 5th of September. So September's going to be a busy month with a few more albums such as Joyland and Diggerland. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and go and watch the movie Dog. Bye bye for now.